A very good morning to all my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are doing good. Today is 11th May 2020 days. Monday. I'm sure you all have enjoyed your weekend. Let's start today's discussion with this quote by Martha Beck. Instead of fretting basically means worrying. Instead of worrying about getting everything done, why not simply accept that being alive means having things to do? Then drop into full engagement with whatever you are doing and let the worry go. What happens with us generally is that let's say we create a to-do list for the day, right? And let's say that this to-do list has 10 items, 1 2 3 4, right? We have 10 items that we need to do today. So when we are at our first item, we generally think about and worry about number 4 or number 6 or number 7 or number 10, like how we will achieve it. And what happens is that it creates a sort of worry in our head, and it distracts us and it hampers our performance. So what I can understand from Martha's this quote is that focus on the thing that, like, focus on number 1 rather than worrying about even number 2, right? Just focus on number 1. Do the best, right? In life there are things like we will try to achieve and we will not. In things in life, being alive basically means having things to do, that we have to move on, that we have to do some things. Some things are done, some things are to be done. So this is what life is about. So focus on the thing that you have on your hand and don't worry about other things, and you'll be all right. With this, dear friends, StudyIQ has launched a smart course. This smart course is designed by the best faculties of our country. This smart course covers both a pre and mains examination. As far as payment option is concerned, you can get EMI facility as well. And to find out more about it, all you have to do is check out our mobile application. Download our mobile application today on your mobile phone and go through our smart course. To download the PDF of today's lecture, do check out my Telegram channel. Please make sure that you share this lecture with other students. Hit the like button if you have learned something from today's discussion. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and if you want to get in touch with me, follow me, then you can follow me on FB. Now on our table we have total 4 articles. These 2 articles are from the Hindu newspaper. Other articles from the Hindu newspaper, if you go through them, then you will find that they are repetitive topics. Like one is on judiciary. We have already talked about judiciary, how we can remember virtual judiciary. Then you have one article on Kerala and Karnataka, why they have done so well, what is the reason behind it. I'm sure you know the reason, right? We have discussed that particular thing, I think 3 or 4 times already. Then we have one article that is talking about the center and states coordination in controlling this coronavirus. Again, this is a topic that we have talked about. So these are the things that you find. So 2 articles that I find important for your examination. The first is the trends shaping the post-COVID-19 world. Very important article written by Rakesh Sood. The second one is coming to terms. This one again is important. This one is about community transmission. Then we have take it down to districts. This article is from Times of India. Very interesting article. It is basically talking about customization rather than standardization when it comes to controlling coronavirus. We'll talk about some examples and then you will know what I mean. And the fourth one is food before cash. Why food is more important than cash in this epidemic episode or this whole situation of coronavirus. So let's crack on. Before we move ahead, I have a small question for you, right? Can you give me the name of institutions that fall under this Bretton Woods, right? Or basically name Bretton Woods institutions. Stick your answer in the comment section. Now, I want you guys to observe this image that you can see on your screen, right? So as if you observe it, right, you will find that this is the world here. You can see China is trying to grab it, and USA is, and other countries are also trying to grab it. But basically, this ball is, or globe is, slipping away from the hands of USA, and it is, means basically it is slipping into the hands of China, right? And I'm sure you know this thing already. We have talked about this thing early on as well. We know that USA is, of course, at present as well, USA is one of the largest economy. It still remains the largest economy and the largest military power, but has lost the will and ability to lead. It is getting weaker and weaker, and this is not just after coronavirus, before coronavirus episode as well. When Barack Obama was president, at that point of time as well, it was quite visible that USA is, slightly getting weaker and weaker, and other countries are getting stronger and stronger. If you go back, a few centuries ago, then you will find that Asian economies were dominant in global GDP. Roughly around 50% of global GDP was covered by Asian countries like India and China and other countries, right? I'm talking about before or pre-industrial revolution era. Then industrial revolution took place in Britain in somewhere around in 1750s, and then it spread to different parts of Europe, and then of course in America, and these countries were doing quite well because of this industrial revolution. That was the game changer for them, and gradually they conquered this part of Asia, Asian economies and Asian countries, and they ruled over the world for a very long period of time. But now the center of gravity is changing. We were talking about the center of gravity early on as well. Remember last Saturday we talked about this Indo-Pacific region. So I'm not going too deep into it, but basically rise of Asia. I'm sure you might have heard about this phrase, right? This thing called rise of Asia. That 21st century is going to is 21st century is Asian century, and in 2008 financial crisis as well. We have seen that Asian countries, particularly India, China, and there are other countries, they are doing quite well. Like you have Vietnam, you have Philippines, you have Thailand, Singapore, of course. So there are a few countries there, Bangladesh as well, doing quite well. So there are few countries in Asia, they are doing quite well. And if you see European countries, if you see Western world, it is getting weaker and weaker. The latest economic forecasts by various different agencies, they also indicate that out of total G20 countries, it's only going to be China and India. They are likely to register economic growth during 2020. That means that other nations, basically in G20, you have 19 countries and one group. Can you give me the name of that group that is part of this G20? So only two countries out of this 19 country and one group, only two countries are going to register a positive growth. Others are going to register a negative growth. That's what latest economic forecasts are indicating. So this indicates that we are more stronger, more resilient compared to Western world, and things are this, power is shifting. This pendulum is shifting towards Asia. Asian countries have demonstrated greater agility in tackling the pandemic as well. Look at the case of South Korea, then you have Singapore, Taiwan, China, right? India as well, of course, right? India has done quite well. This lockdown has worked for us. We are going to talk about it in detail. So I'm just giving you a rough example about India. Then we will talk about it in detail as we move on. So basically, dear friends, this is a trend that is quite visible. And as far as USA is concerned, you know what happened in Afghanistan, you know what happened in Iraq, right? In other parts as well, USA is not able to sort out things. So this America first is looking like America alone these days. As far as other European powers are concerned, let's say European Union. European Union, again, a very important it has been, again, it is at present. I'm not saying that it is completely gone now, but it's fading. Gradually, it's fading. The powers of European Unions are fading. So European Union, very important, one of the most prosperous region in the world, right? But at present, what you see there, first thing is so many countries are battling with coronavirus and they are losing, right? They have many casualties over there, like Italy, France, Germany, UK, etc., Switzerland as well. Expansion of membership to include East European states. East European states are generally not that affluent, not that prosperous, or not that rich countries. So other nations, this West European countries, they were not happy with this thing. So this has created some cracks. Then financial crisis of 2008 has created huge amount of pressure on European Union's financial system as well. It has given huge amount of money to Greece, Italy and other countries, Portugal, for example, and they are not able to pay back the whole amount. So this is a thing. Then Brexit took place. Now earlier on, European Union was a close ally of USA, but now they want to deal more with Russia and China, right? So I'll give you one example of Italy here, right? Italy was in fact, it is in a big trouble at present as well. So Italy was asking for help from various different countries like UK and Netherlands and Germany and other countries, but they were not ready to help Italy. So who helped Italy? It was helped by China. Can you believe China airlifted huge amount of PPEs and masks and other things, medicines and so many things to Italy. and China is helping more than 150 countries at present, right? So USA is not doing that, China is doing that. So China is getting stronger. Things are changing in relationships are changing in Europe, north-south divide. You have Italy and other countries, they are asking for money. North countries like you have Germany, Netherlands, they are saying that why we should pay money for your troubles. So it's getting weaker again. Then one more trend that is quite visible, as you know, that China is getting stronger and more assertive, more aggressive. China is quite successful, right? There are mixed reports. A few reports are saying that this is a big failure. A few reports are saying that it is doing quite well. But one thing that we have to appreciate and understand is that China is available in various different parts of various different continents, right? It is in Europe as well, in parts of Africa, in parts of Asia, right? It is spreading basically everywhere. This Belt and Road Initiative, it is constructing huge amount of infrastructure, ports, airports, and so many things. China is now ready to assume a global responsibility. So this is another trend. One more thing that is quite visible is weak or ineffective international and multilateral bodies. World Health Organization, you know how biased it is, alleged that it is quite biased these days particularly. Then we have UN Security Council, ineffective. G7 meeting was a complete failure. G20 meeting, it was suggested by our Prime Minister, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi suggested that we should have at least a virtual meeting. Physical meeting was going to take place, but because of this lockdown and other things, it was decided that finally India said that rather than cancelling it, we should have it online. And the G20 nations, they did it online. I have one question for you. Who is the head of or the chair of G20 at present? Stick your answer in the comment section. So G20, right? It has talked about helping financially, medically, and providing goods and services, making sure that food supply will go on. But we have to wait and watch how good the implementation will be. So basically, international institutions are also not doing that great. And energy politics, it is also changing. Earlier on, this West Asian countries, they have made huge amount of money from oil. Now they are making huge amount of losses because of drop in oil prices and oil demand. There is this mismatch of supply and demand, as you know. Now energy politics, things will change forever. Just imagine if all our vehicles, our transportation, full transportation is, if it becomes EV, electronic vehicles, trucks, trains, your aircrafts, right? And this is possible, and their cars and motorcycles, everything. If it is run by electricity, then just imagine the power of India. We don't have to rely on West Asian countries. We don't have to rely on fuel. Of course, it will impact our renewable and means our climate change targets as well. We will be able to achieve it in I would say speedily, right? And then we have less shocks from this ups and downs of oil price and other things. So this is something that will get a boost, renewable and green technologies, because now after this whole episode of coronavirus is gone, countries will think about this macro thing, right? This coronavirus is nothing when you compare it with the impacts or this negative impact of climate change. How it can destroy. You cannot, means lockdown as well will not help you. If things, negative things from climate change, if they start rolling, then nothing can save us. So I'm sure after all this chapter is over, focus of the world will be on controlling this climate change. So we are going to see big things, big changes in energy politics, and this will change. Many dynasties will go away. Means you never know. A few monarchies, countries may become democracies. You never know. So that's basically everything that's going on around the world, big things. Moving on to next item, it's about coming to terms. Now on 9th April 2020, ICMR and Health Ministry researchers, some of them are National Task Force members for COVID-19 In a journal paper, they provided evidence suggesting that prevalence of community transmission in 36 districts of 15 states. Now, see here you have this stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 and stage 4. Community transmission is stage 3. In simple words, let's say if you have A and B, A has got COVID-19 and B gets COVID-19 from A, then this is one-to-one transmission. But community transmission means you don't know from where you got this coronavirus or this COVID-19. So B means you have A, C, D, E, so many people around you, but you don't know from where you got this COVID-19. So this is a situation which is what we call community transmission. 5th May 2020, when total national figure was 47,000, then as well, Health Ministry said that India's virus spread had not gone to stage 3. At present, we are somewhere around 63,500 plus, and now it is quite visible that droplet transmission and contact with contaminated surfaces is the main reason behind the spread or this rising number. So far, India was not acknowledging this thing that this community transmission has started. And a few days ago, we were talking about this community transmission. Remember the case of Mumbai and Indore and other places. And one doctor, neurological doctor in Chennai, he passed away. And this doctors, they were working like in their clinics, they were seeing patients because at a national level or at a state level, it was not declared that, in fact, even today, it is not declared that community transmission has started. So these doctors were not that careful. Remember, we talked about this thing. So at present, government means the good news is that 75 hotspot districts, right, a thorough test will be conducted here in 75 hotspot districts to confirm community spread. And for that, aggressive testing will be conducted. We will do this thing. It is called ELISA Test. We'll talk about more. We have a very positive news about ELISA Test today. We'll talk about it when we reach news items. So ELISA Test, full form is enzyme-linked immunosorbent assay. A very important full form. You can find this question, ELISA, what is the full form of ELISA, in your MCQ or prelims examination. So pay attention to this thing. Now, so more tests will be conducted. ELISA test, where it measures your antibodies in your blood. So it will give us a sort of accurate result about this coronavirus, whether someone has got it or not. So it's good that finally we are going to conduct this thorough testing in 75 hotspot districts, and then we would be able to say that properly that whether we have transmission, community transmission is on or off in our country, or in which stage our country is basically. Then we have take it down to districts. This one is from Times of India. Very important line. There are no big problems. There are just a lot of little problems. If you fix little problems, then you can fix big problems as well. Now, you know that 63,500 plus cases we have already in our country. It looks big. 63,500 case. This figure is quite scary. But if you break it down, we have some 730 districts. Not all districts are affected, but for argument's sake, if you break it down, then we will have just 100 to 200 COVID patients, positive patients in each district. Now, this looks small, isn't it? This is more manageable. So what we should do now is we should do a thorough, aggressive test, track and quarantine strategy should be implemented at district level. And this should be India's strategy on lifting the lockdown on 17th May. Convert the district administration into the center of action. You can provide guidelines. Let's say this is your pyramid here, right? So this is your center, these are your states, and this is your districts, right? Your Ds. So you can provide central government can provide some guidelines to states. States can provide some guidelines to districts, but they should be given a free hand. When I say free hand, I mean to say that we need to trust our district administration and let them take the action, right? You can provide them theory, let them do what they think is best, because they are the ones who are quite close to grassroots level. Lockdown has helped us in, let's say, controlling or saving 50% of lives. Now, rest 50% will depend on states. Their performance will decide whether we will go up or we will go down. We have a big variation in our states as well. We have states like Kerala, Karnataka, Goa. They have done quite well. Then we have states like Gujarat and Maharashtra. They are struggling, right? They are literally bleeding at present. So we need to give more powers to this. And what we can do is more powers to, let me finish this sentence first, that we need to give more powers to this states, Maharashtra and Gujarat and other states. Other states like Kerala, Karnataka, Goa, those districts, they are clean. What they should do is they should produce more and more those items like PPEs, medicines, ventilators, right? Other medical equipments. They should boost up their production, and they should spread these items to various different districts. Again, I'm saying not states, I'm talking about districts. We need to break it down to district level. So if we do this thing, right, it will give them, this districts will get that flexibility, that agility, right? It's like, if you have a big ship, then it will take, you cannot, means big ship is not that agile. It's not that, means maneuvering is going to be difficult. But just imagine if you have a small jet ski, it can do all those stunts and fun things, isn't it? In the same way. A big country's strategy, it's like a big ship, but districts are like small jet skis or small power boats. They can take sudden turns. So this is something that we need to do. We should have some facilities like real-time data and real numbers as well. And one more important thing is districts should be judged on 4 parameters, right? These 4 parameters are number of tests performed. Second thing is number of negative tests. Third is deaths, and the fourth is satisfaction score of quarantined patients. We should not judge a district based on their just numbers. Numbers are going to go up. If you will conduct more tests, then more numbers are going to be there. So we should take it positively that this particular district is doing more tests, right? Rather than reprimanding district administrators. If you threaten them with transfers, and if you create unnecessary pressure on them. Yes, if they are not creating enough tests, then do pressurize, do put some pressure on them, do put more gas. But if they are doing enough tests and if numbers are going up, then it's not their fault. They are doing the best they can. So help them in this situation. We can rope in pharmacies or medical stores, right? They should provide data on patients who are buying fever and cough sort of medicines. We need to conduct ILI and SARI. These are tests, right? We need to conduct this sort of tests as well aggressively, as I told you, right? Aggressively means more and more people should if we have to knock each and every door, then we should do it. And one more important thing, that quarantine should be a pleasant experience. Provide them Wi-Fi, provide them magazines and other things to read. Basically, entertain them. And the reason why I'm saying is that if people will feel happy when you are not well, if everyone will tell you that you will not survive, then chances are that you will not survive, because it has been proved that if you are happy, a person who is less worried and more happy, less chances, if he is going through any disease as well, then the chances are that he will recover quickly, and less chances that he will fall ill, right? I'm not saying that if you are happy then you will not get coronavirus. What I'm saying is that quarantine experience should not be horrific. It should not be like a hell, right? It should be like a place where person is going to get repaired, to get sorted, and then he will be back. He or she will be back. And we need to create more of these facilities, beds and other things, ICU centers and ventilators and all these things which are quite. And of course, society's support is one of the most important thing. District administrations should only be given broad guidelines, which we have already talked about, right? And we have good example of Bhilwara of Rajasthan. Earlier on, people started calling it, or media started calling it, Italy of India, that things are going to be as bad as Italy in Bhilwara. But Bhilwara is a role model now, right? It has done it. It has proved it. So that flexibility, if given, and broad guidelines and support is given, then districts can do wonder. And we have young population, so naturally we are going to be a bit more immune to this thing. So we need to make the most out of it and empower our districts. The fourth one is from Indian Express, food before cash. Now, if you go through this article, then you will find that this article is providing us a few numbers about the number of ladies having Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan accounts, Jan Dhan Yojana accounts. And there are a few, like basically, you know that PMJDY is for poor people. But there are a few houses, when I say few, I'm talking about in millions, right? There are people who are having this account. They don't need this account, but they have this account. Now, the thing is, the government has decided that it will transfer 500 rupees per month for next 3 months to ladies or this women account or women having this PMJDY. So, the final figure is that at least 125 to 175 million poor women and their households will not receive this emergency cash transfer because few of them, they don't have them. When I say few, again, it's in millions. And there are women, they have this account, but they are not poor. So, of course, if we can sort it out some way, then that will be great. But one more challenge is accessing the cash. There are so many villages where you don't have ATMs, right? So even if you get 500 rupees in your account, it's going to be of no use. So the best thing is, at present, is to provide food, right? There should not be any shortage of necessary items, food items. Grains, you can provide them rice, pulses, bajra and other things, wheat, etc. I think milk vouchers should be provided as well. Very important for overall nutrition. If you cannot provide milk, fresh milk, then how about milk powder? This is something that you can provide, right? And people can add water and milk powder, and this will give them. I'm not saying, I'm not an expert in this thing, but I think we have this technology now that you get this Amul and other milk items, and they claim that they have this nutrition. I'm not sure how good it will be, but this is something. If in few areas where you cannot provide milk, at least you can provide them these vouchers through which they can either buy milk or they can buy this milk powders. So these are the things that we need to think a bit creatively, right? And food is something that will help you survive. If you don't have food and if you don't have money, then naturally you are going to head towards a place where you know that you will get it, and that is your home. And this is one of the reasons why we saw this mass exodus of migrant workers. So this is the time now to provide food to each and every person who needs food. And eligibility issue, or it should not be a hurdle. If you don't have a ration card, that's fine, right? Just give that family food. Means people will, there are poor people, right? They are more satisfied if you give them enough food for, let's say, a few weeks or something, and if they know that they will get more before they run out of this stock, they will not stock these items, right? They will pay as you go type of thing. They will use it as they need it. I'm sure many people will sell some items as well. They will cheat. They will steal things in between. But these are a few things that we can repair later on. But first priority should be food before cash. Cash, it's okay. I'm not saying that don't provide cash. Do provide it. But first of all, food should be available 24/7, 365 days, right? News. Indian and Chinese troops face off in Ladakh and Sikkim, right? Full report is here. It's very sad. 15 pairs of trains to run from tomorrow, so that's a good thing. And then you have this infographic. Please help yourself with the infographic as well. Norms issued for restart of industrial units. These norms are issued by National Disaster Management Authority. Prime Minister is going to have a thorough discussion with chief ministers today. Of course, they will talk about the next step after this 17th May, what's going to be the future and how we are going to unlock our country. This picture, you can see so many people right now. The problem is that these countries, they have done quite well in controlling coronavirus, but now you can see people are coming out in these big numbers. So a big threat for second wave, and this is something not good. People should refrain from doing this sort of things. Good news about India is that COVID Kavach has been created. This is created by National Institute of Virology, Pune. It has created one indigenous ELISA test kit, which is known as COVID Kavach. and it is going to be speedy. We can test around 90 samples in 2.5 hours, so that's great. National Technology Day is celebrated today. DRDO lab develops automated UV system to sanitize your checks, your money, your currency notes, your mobile phones and things. So it is known as Drooves. And then sad thing that Dr. Manmohan Singh ji, he is not well. He is admitted to AIMS. And that's everything in today's discussion. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Jai Hind.